There was a fun thing that happened as a result of my sister and I learning Tagalog, and that was my parents would come home from language school and they would be talking and practicing their vocabulary and their pronunciation. And suddenly they found that their kids, my sister and I, were correcting them. Hey YouTube, it's Kevin from Kevin in the Philippines. I thought I would take us somewhere different tonight, and that is actually the boulevard seafront of Sibulan area. And so that's where I am tonight. I was trying to catch sunset, and it's definitely past sunset, but you can almost see it behind me in the mountains. And obviously to my left is the ocean and the island of Cebu off in the distance. So that's kind of cool. The waves are a little loud, but I thought I would give a shot and actually try to record a story here just for fun, just to be in a different place and have a different environment. This story takes place back in 1984, back when our family was in Lipa City, Batangas. If you've watched some of my other videos, you may have heard me talk about Lipa City, and that's because that's where I grew up. That's where we first moved to when I was a kid, and our family had moved just from the Philippines, straight from the USA. That was the first place we went. My parents had come to Lipa to study Tagalog at a language school, so that's why we moved down there. And when they were in school studying Tagalog, my sister and I, who were around grade 1 and 2, I think, or maybe kindergarten and grade 1, we needed to go to school. And so my parents needed to enroll us in a school somewhere in Lipa City. And they found an English teaching school that was Seventh-day Adventist. So I just remember it being called SDA, and I think it's still down there to this day. It's the Seventh-day Adventist school in Lipa City. So my sister and I were enrolled there, and we were the only foreigner kids in the whole school. So even though my parents meant well and they wanted us to get an education and learn something, what happened was my sister and I ended up becoming kind of like aliens in this school where we were the only foreign kids, the only white kids. And our fellow students would come up to us and pinch our cheeks and tease us and practice their English on us, and basically just, we couldn't fit in. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to fit in, but we kept standing out because we were just so different. We had the same school uniforms. We tried to, play with the other kids and get along with them, but we were always sort of these strange weirdos that had come to the school, and they were just like, why are you here? You look so different from us. My sister and I initially, we didn't want to learn how to speak Tagalog. In fact, I remember her saying, I don't want to learn this dumb language. But here we were, kids from another country brought right into the Philippines, and just by what I call direct immersion, we were just injected into Filipino life, culture, the people, the language. And it only took a few weeks or months, and my sister, who was always better than I at Tagalog, was just rattling off Tagalog. She was so good. So she went from I don't want to learn this language to being almost like an expert. We had a tricycle driver who would pick us up from our home and drive us to our elementary school. And that was so sweet, and he was really kind to us. And at that time, again, this is back in the 80s, he still remembered when the Japanese were in Batangas, and he told us stories about how he and his family used to hide in the hills from the Japanese when they would come to town. He was also really kind, and one time he was taking us home and he stopped and bought us sugar cane to eat on, just a little chunk of sugar cane. And we were in trouble later with our parents because they didn't want us eating sugar cane and making our teeth, rot and fall out. That's what I remember my mom saying. But it was just really sweet, our tricycle driver. There was a fun thing that happened as a result of my sister and I learning Tagalog, and that was my parents would come home from language school, and they would be talking and practicing their vocabulary and their pronunciation. And suddenly they found that their kids, my sister and I, were correcting them. And we were saying, no, that's not how you say it, Mom. You say it like this. Because we had learned how to say things like the locals said it. And what I learned later was called Batangueño. And we also were picking up slang terms and just more of a relaxed, casual way of speaking. And I remember my parents telling their language teachers, we want to learn to speak like our kids. Why are you teaching us this formal Tagalog? You know, we want to learn the way that our kids are speaking. Another thing that helped my sister and I really learn the language and the culture was they let us play outside. And they let us roam around, and we got to play in our neighborhood. It was a gated subdivision, so I guess they felt safe. And we just roamed around the neighborhood and the nearby hills and just learned to absorb culture and language that way because we weren't stuck in the house. And there were other families, other expats, missionary families that were there, and they were a lot more fearful of letting their kids play outside like that. And so they kept them inside the compound or inside the walls of the house they were staying at, and that cut them off from opportunities to interact with other kids and learn language. And so I'm so grateful that my parents let us play outside. And it might have been a little bit dangerous, but it was fine. We turned out fine. My Tagalog is not as good as it was when I was a little kid, but I'm always working to improve it. In fact, even now, my girlfriend Angie and I will talk to each other in Tagalog, and she'll correct me if I make a mistake. And it still impresses Filipinos to this day, and they're always amazed because they just can't believe that someone who looks like a foreigner, you know, this guy from another country, can speak their language so fluently. So it's kind of a fun thing that I love to do, and it never gets old. I love kind of surprising Filipinos, and when I speak Tagalog, they're always amazed. Ironically, I chose to live in the Visayas though, and I'm here in Negros Oriental where the city of Dumaguete is, and most people here speak Bisaya, and my girlfriend Angie speaks Bisaya. So it can be frustrating at times because I want to speak in Tagalog, but I realize that it doesn't always translate. In fact, sometimes my girlfriend Angie will say, she'll say, babe, they don't understand your Tagalog. Don't even try. Just speak English. And so that can be frustrating at times, but obviously I can still communicate, and I try to speak Tagalog whenever I can, even when I'm not supposed to or it's not helpful. Okay, if there was a takeaway for this video, I would probably say that there's a motorcycle coming. Let me make some room. Sorry, there's like been 3 motorcycles. Let me let this motorcycle go by, and then I'll close out this video. I always love to try to think of some kind of takeaway for every video that I do, and this one would probably be, if you are moving to a new country, a new culture, a new place, try to keep yourself open-minded to the language and the culture of this new country you're in, because it's going to help you adjust and fit in so much better. And I know you're probably thinking, yeah, easy for you to say. You were a kid, you were 7 years old, 8 years old, your mind, could soak up language, like a sponge. That's what kids do. But even to this day, as an adult, in my late 40s now, I'm still trying to sharpen my Tagalog. I'm still trying to sharpen my language skill. And my girlfriend's even teaching me a little bit of Bisaya. So I'm trying to stay open-minded, and that's what I encourage you to do as well. Don't wall yourself off. Don't say, this dumb language is too hard to learn. I don't want to learn it. Keep yourself open, because it's going to help you fit in and understand Filipinos better and their culture better. And they're going to love the fact that you have taken the time to learn that language as well. Okay, it's the mindset, right? Mindset. Okay, leave a comment below if you have learned another language, any language. I'm not exactly sure who's watching this video. Obviously, I'm in the Philippines and my focus is on life here, but maybe you learned to speak some Tagalog or another dialect in the Philippines. Leave a comment below if you've been working on your language skills, or maybe you're a Filipino watching this and you're trying to get better at English. Leave a comment below if you've been working on that and maybe you got good at speaking that language. I would love to hear how your progress is going, and if you're bilingual or trilingual, or some people can speak all kinds of languages and it's so awesome. I'm jealous of those people. Okay, I'm gonna close it out for now. I think the sun is long gone. I don't even know if you can still see the ocean behind me, but I just thought it would be a fun place to come and shoot a video. Appreciate you watching this tonight. Thank you for joining me. If you liked this video, found it a little bit entertaining, do me a favor, give it a like. It helps my channel grow. Consider subscribing to the channel to hear more stories about life in the Philippines from when I was a kid and what life is like right now. I'll close it out with that and say thanks for watching and mabuhay. Bye guys.